Hello super nerds, welcome to the channel. Have you ever wondered if your favorite superhero is original or a copy of another character? In the world of comics, it's common to find characters that are heavily inspired by each other, sometimes even too much. In this video, we will explore some of the most visible copies of superheroes, revealing the stories behind these surprising similarities. Get ready to discover how some of the most iconic figures in comics have their origins in other heroes. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel to receive new videos. Let's go! Deadpool may not be considered a hero, but it's undeniable that he is one of Marvel's most popular and funniest characters in recent years, even earning a trilogy of films. He debuted in 1991, created by Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza. His real name is Wade Wilson, and he is considered an anti-hero, being very violent, sarcastic, and a complete mercenary. His main ability is an extremely advanced healing factor, which makes him nearly unbeatable. However, Deadpool is not an original character, but a copy. Deadpool's creators have never hidden their inspiration from DC's Deathstroke, who debuted in 1980, created by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. Deathstroke's real name is Slade Wilson, and even their names are similar. Additionally, the stories of the two characters are quite alike. Both underwent military experiments that granted them superhuman abilities and accelerated regeneration. Both are also bloodthirsty mercenaries. However, Marvel managed to transform Deadpool into a unique character, especially with his humorous approach. He has become much more popular than DC's Deathstroke, evolving into something beyond a simple copy. Guardian. Let's talk about one of the most failed superhero copies of all time. You probably don't remember or even know the Guardian, a DC superhero. Created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, the Guardian is an American soldier who dedicates his life to fighting criminals. He has no superpowers, but wears a special suit and carries an almost indestructible shield. Have you noticed the resemblance to another very famous superhero? That's right, the Guardian is a blatant copy of Marvel's Captain America. Captain America first appeared in March 1941 as a symbol of the United States in the fight against Nazism, just before the country entered World War II. His origin is well known. He is the result of a military experiment to create a super soldier. One of his most notable characteristics is his iconic shield, which he uses both to attack and defend. On the other hand, the Guardian first appeared in April 1942. In the 1970s, he became a secondary character in the Superman franchise. Despite the similarities, the Guardian is much less popular than Captain America. Moreover, both were created by the same duo, Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, and the two shield-wielding heroes were developed just over a year apart. In 2005, DC tried to revive the character with the Manhattan Guardian, a new version of the original, but he also failed to reach the popularity of Captain America. Vision. This time, we have a successful copy. Let's talk about a case where the copy became more popular than the original. Vision is a well-known Marvel character, but there is much evidence to suggest that he is a copy of DC's Red Tornado, who debuted in 1968. Let's compare the characteristics of the two. Both are red androids, have caped costumes, and, most importantly, are bald. The story of Vision is curious because his first record was in 1940, created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby and published by Timely Comics, which later became Marvel. This is almost 30 years before the emergence of Red Tornado. You might think that Red Tornado would then be an imitation of the first Vision, published in 1940, but the answer is no. The Vision of that time was a completely different character, a pale-looking alien who acted as an intergalactic policeman. It was only in 1968 that Stan Lee and Roy Thomas created a new version of Vision. Both his appearance and his story underwent significant changes, transforming him into the android we know today. Coincidentally, these changes occurred in the same year that DC published Red Tornado, which suggests that Red Tornado served as inspiration for the new version of Vision. Black Spider. Let's talk about the Black Spider, a superhero whose inspiration is quite evident. The Black Spider is clearly inspired by Spider-Man, and many say he was a desperate attempt by DC to compete with Marvel's most popular character at the time. The Black Spider first appeared in 1976, created by Jerry Conway, while Spider-Man created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, had already captured the audience's attention since his debut in 1962. Despite both having similar abilities, such as shooting webs and climbing walls, their stories have few similarities. Before becoming the Black Spider, Eric Needham was a hustler who accidentally killed his own father during a robbery. After being imprisoned, he abandons crime and decides to take justice into his own hands using a special suit that gives him arachnid powers. He hunts and kills drug dealers, which contrasts sharply with Spider-Man, who does not kill his enemies. The Black Spider was later integrated into the Batman universe, where he considers himself a vigilante. Unlike Batman, he has no qualms about killing criminals, which puts him at odds with the Dark Knight. This makes the Black Spider an enemy of Batman, leading to significant clashes in the Detective Comics series. However, the Black Spider never achieved the popularity of Spider-Man. In practice, he is a bloodthirsty vigilante seeking revenge for his father's death, while Spider-Man and Batman follow the law and seek justice. What truly makes the Black Spider considered a rip-off is that, in addition to having almost identical powers to Spider-Man, his fighting moves and classic poses are also identical to the Marvel character. Interestingly, both Marvel and DC have created other Spider-inspired characters. Steel. Let's talk about two more characters that are practically identical and fuel the rivalry between DC and Marvel. John Henry Irons is a brilliant billionaire engineer tasked with designing and selling super modern weapons to the government. If you've noticed the similarity to Tony Stark, hold on. After Superman's death, John realized that Metropolis was being dominated by gang warfare. To stop this, he had the brilliant idea of inventing a powerful armor in memory of Superman, even earning the nickname Man of Steel. Later, when Superman returned to life, he even partnered with him, fighting crime together. Steel, also known as John Henry Irons, first appeared in 1993, created by John Bogdanove, Louise Simonson, and others. Meanwhile, Iron Man, created by Stan Lee and other artists, debuted in 1963, much earlier. You must already know the story of billionaire Tony Stark and his high-tech armors used to fight crime, right? There is no doubt that DC took a lot of inspiration from Marvel to create this character. The rivalry between the two superhero universes is fueled by these similarities. Wolverine. Wolverine is undeniably one of Marvel's most iconic superheroes, thanks to the X-Men films and his presence in a wide variety of media, from comics to games and cartoons. With enhanced abilities and an advanced healing factor, his most striking feature is the claws in his hands. He is generally associated with the X-Men, but has also been a member of the Avengers and other teams. Wolverine's origin dates back to 1974, when he first appeared in an Incredible Hulk story. Initially, he was a secondary character, but over the years, his success turned him into one of Marvel's big names. However, Wolverine has a strong inspiration from another superhero, this time from DC, in a case where the copy became more successful than the original. Have you ever heard of Timberwolf? This superhero first appeared 10 years before Wolverine, in 1964, created by Edmund Hamilton and John Fort. Although their stories are different, both share very similar characteristics, including retractable claws and superhuman attributes. Additionally, the physical resemblance between them is incredible. Captain Marvel. Let's dive into the most complicated case involving superhero copies, Captain Marvel. You might be wondering how a character with the same name as the company itself can be a copy. Well, the story is more interesting than you might imagine. Captain Marvel was not originally created by Marvel. He first appeared in 1940, published by the now-defunct Fawcett Comics. He was a boy named Billy Batson who gained his powers from a wizard and transformed into a superpowered hero by shouting a magic word. Despite his uniform being quite different from what we know today, this was the first Captain Marvel, a character inspired by Superman, like many of that era. The enormous success of Captain Marvel caught the attention of national publications, which later became DC Comics. They sued Fawcett Comics, claiming that Captain Marvel was a rip-off of Superman. In 1953, Fawcett lost the case and had to withdraw all comics featuring the character from circulation, as well as pay a fine to DC. Meanwhile, Marvel saw an opportunity and realized that this superhero would be perfect for a new publication. Marvel bought the license for the name in 1967 and began publishing Captain Marvel comics. However, in 1972, DC decided to pay Fawcett Comics to use Captain Marvel in their comics, but it was too late, as Marvel was already using the character. The solution found by DC was to rename the character to Shazam. Initially, DC tried to circumvent the situation by calling the comics Original Captain Marvel, but that didn't work, and they were threatened with lawsuits. So, DC started calling the character by the name he is known by today. In practice, Marvel's Captain Marvel is a copy of the Captain Marvel created by Fawcett Comics in the 1940s, who in turn was inspired by DC's Superman. The story behind these characters is a complex tangle of inspirations and legal disputes. This was today's video. Comment what you thought and which other heroes you think should be in this video. See you next time.